pieces, and I will take those consequences because I will learn from those consequences. Very hard moment.
Sure.
But ultimately, that's how I instill that into my children. And this is the greatest thing I think that I could teach an adult who's parenting. You should love your children enough that you let them hurt.
Yeah.
Which is, dude, that's a really, really hard thing.
Let's zoom out from there. That's what God does.
It's exactly what he does. And he's the greatest parent. He's the greatest example, right? Like you think about Christ in the Garden of Gethsemane, going through what he went through. Every ounce of him was like, please help me. I don't want to be here. This is overwhelming.
Correct.
God could have went, take the pain.
No problem.
But he didn't.
You got it.
I love you enough to go through the pain because this pain will give you what you need to know about your siblings so that you can understand them. And when you understand them, you can succor them, you can help them.
This will be for your good.
Exactly. And so it's the same thing for us with parents. And this is a hard principle most parents don't live by. If you love your children, let them hurt, because through pain and discomfort and consequence, that's when they learn. Don't step in and do that. Yeah, you can bandage it for a minute, but you're only setting them up for failure in the rest of their life. Why not let them learn right now? And I say this all the time again, love them enough to let them hurt. And it's not easy, man.
No. It never gets easy. But I think the difference, I have this conversation with my wife all the time. Our boy's 13, and he's the only boy, and then we have the girls. And I go, I'm going to run this play from 13 to 18, and this isn't going to be comfortable for you. But we could run it from 13 to 18 my way uncomfortably, or we can run it from 18 to 28 really bad.
Where they're living at the house and not learning anything,
right?
And you learn, and they're not giving back to society.
Bro, and I'm sure you coach 1.5 million, 1,047,000 is how many people Keaton coaches. But you coach all these people, and so you probably have a better data point than I do. But I'm gonna say 26. I don't know where that comes. I'm gonna say 26 to 36 right now is a bunch of losers.
Yeah.
And so I look at, one of the reasons that we moved out of Southern Cal was, my wife was pregnant with number 4, and I'm like, 15 years from now, like, is the pool better for these 3 girls?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Yeah.
And so then how do we not do that to ourselves? And so I say all the time, it's so uncomfortable. We have to make these uncomfortable conversations with these young men quickly and honestly, and often the failures, or else we're going to be having these conversations when they're married, and now I'm a grandparent, and now I've got all of these massive consequences, when I could have just been accountable and held him accountable and made it hurt from 13 to 18.
Exactly. And taught them what they needed to learn in the most important parts of their life.
Yeah.
And we're failing in this place. And I got my CEO, and she just got her hands up. She's just like, I don't know. And she's so upset. And I just looked at her and I smiled. I said, what are you so upset at? She's like, we're just failing. I said, isn't it beautiful? And she was like, what?
Yeah.
And I said, isn't this such a beautiful thing?
Paradigm.
And dude, she did. She switched. She goes, you're fucking crazy. And I said, no. This is a beautiful thing. We're on the journey to make this company what we wish it to be. And we got to fail. And the more we fail, the more we grow and the more we learn. I said, how much have you learned as the CEO in the last 6 months? She said, I've learned more in the last 6 months. I said, how much have you failed? She's like, I feel like a failure. Perfect. Fall in love with that.
Yeah.
Because the more you fail, the more we realize that isn't the right route. And then we get to the route we want to be.
You heard that Jocko Willink when he has the one guy that always come to him, hey, I got this problem. And he would always go, good.
Yeah.
That moment. And then he's like, I'm coming to you for advice.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
That's like, ready to go. Yeah. I love that stuff. I tell, we've got 4 little ones who aren't so little anymore, 13 to 4. And I tell them all the time, what would you do if I was dead? And then all of a sudden, they're like, got it.
Yeah.
Like, I love it. Like, I love
That's such a great question.
Just to instill that into them.
What would you do if I wasn't here? And that goes back to that saying, a boy doesn't become a man until he loses his father. It's one of the reasons why I was so successful at such a young age, because I lost my father. I didn't have that.
Yeah.
And I always run that.
It's a superpower, Keaton.
Oh, it's huge, dude. I run that whole system through people all the time. I say, listen, dude, you have to fabricate that loss. If you can't have it, you got to fabricate it. Literally, my last meeting before you guys got here, I'm working with a 26-year-old kid.
Okay.
When we started working a year ago, his dad's a billionaire, has a huge inheritance, right? And he was kind of a piece of shit when we started. And I only say that because he knows I would say that, and he would say that himself.
Yeah.
Our phone call today is he has acquired 7 lots. His dad was a home builder, a developer.
Okay.
He's acquired 7 lots. He's sold 3 homes for over $8 million. He's got 4 more lots that he's going to essentially sell for between 11 to 15 million in the next 2 years.
Attaboy. Good.
We had to fabricate the death of his father and the safety net that he has had his entire life. When he fabricated that, all of a sudden, he showed up.
Yeah.
And dude, he shows up. I mean, dude, the dude's going to do $40 million in the next 3 or 4 years. Like, it's going to be insane. A 26-year-old kid who was a piece of shit last year is going to do $40 million by the time he's 30 years old, because we had to fabricate. If dad died and all this safety net wasn't here, what would you do? What decision would you make? And that's one of the things I run through with a lot of young people is it's like, dude, you've felt this safety net for so long.
Too long.
And dude, the greatest teaching, Sun Tzu actually taught this. This is why I love this so much. Sun Tzu said, warriors will fight 3 times with more power when their back is against what's called death ground. So he says you can take a warrior and you can say to him, hey, we got to go out and we got to do this battle. If we fail, we fail. You could take that same warrior and say, hey, man, we have to do this or we die.
We die.
We have no other choice. There is no safety net.
I like that.
And he said, Sun Tzu said, those warriors will fight with 3 times the power when they're against death ground.
I love it.
And that's that thought process of even what you say to your kids. If I wasn't here, if I wasn't the safety net, and you had to fight your way out of this by yourself, what would you do?
Yeah.
And they make the right decisions.
It's interesting. I was sitting with Jordan Peterson, my wife and I, about 18 months ago. And I said to him, this is my question for him. I said, you talk a lot about being a lion and a lover, which is, contrary in today's current political climate on Twitter. And so I said, as a father of 3 girls, how do you create lions and lovers? And, I can't articulate half of anything that JP says. He's incredible. But the thesis was, you wrestle them. You physically wrestle them.
Yeah.
Because as girls grow, they need to know the difference between, oh, that doesn't feel right. And then they need to know, wait, I can be pushed harder.
Yeah.
And the way that he unpacked it, Keaton, was so beautiful for my wife and I to sit there through this. And it was literally now, we wrestle every night.
Yeah.
Like we wrestle, and it's so funny, and I tell you this story, I don't even know why. Last night, as I was getting ready, and they know I was leaving, I just came back from Florida, so I'm bouncing, and I shower, I shave, and I do bedtime routine with my girls. Yeah. And it's my thing. And so I'm laying down with them, and she keeps tickling my feet. She's 6, I'm sorry. She's 6. She keeps tickling, and I'm like, Addie, I'm gonna freak out on you. I'm gonna wrestle you. So she's like, yeah, you want the smoke? So I pick her up, I grab her, and I go right for her neck. Bro, these 3 marks right here were from her little claws. I was so proud. I told my wife, I was like, I can't be mad. I'm so proud. That moment of like, she didn't shrink, she didn't puff up, she didn't scream, she didn't holler. She went right for my face. I was like, I did it. I loved it, right? It was that moment of like, I walked out and I had a tank top on and I was bleeding, and Melissa's like, you got to be on camera in like 12 hours. I'm like, I know, but I'm so proud. I can't even be mad. It was just like, I did it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that idea of raising these little lovers and these lions of like, oh no, I know the difference and I know how to be strong.
Yeah.
And if you push me, old man, I'm going to get crazy.
100%.
I love that.
Dude, it's funny. We're putting on a really big event here in Utah in about 3 weeks, and it's called Man in the Arena.
Okay.
And I've decided.
Teddy Roosevelt.
Yeah, and I've decided that that's ultimately kind of what I want to talk on is I want to take even Jordan Peterson's idea of you must become a monster.
I love that.
I love that thought, but to teach that is really, really hard to get people to integrate that. But even you saying like, dude, how do I become that? You got to wrestle with it.
Yeah.
And learning to wrestle with it allots you the ability to see like, what am I truly capable of? Ooh. What is it? And you know what's funny, dude? Everybody has a monster doll, and we're going to go throw it in the garbage. So we literally, I walked her down and I said, okay, throw the doll in the garbage. My wife's like in the background, like almost in tears.
Oh,
She's
totally.
Like, that's her favorite. And I said,
you're right. You're an animal.
This is the consequence ultimately to the decisions that you make. So she stopped drawing on the walls. Well, a week goes by. My wife says to her, hey, Why aren't you drawing on the walls? She goes, well, if I draw on the walls, I have to give up things I love. Literally, my 3-year-old.
There it is.
And that shit ain't easy.
No.
It's not fun. Dude,
No.
my heart was breaking. I'm like, oh, I know how much she loves this doll. But did she learn?
Yeah.
Was the consequence hard enough for her to begin to learn? And absolutely it was. And it's going to be something that sticks with her for the rest of her life. Like, if I do something and there's a consequence, I must pay that consequence. Dad's not going to pay it. And the best part is like, Dad wasn't even angry.
Right.
He's walking through the consequence with me. And I'm literally like, sweetheart, I'm not angry, but I just feel really bad for you because the consequence is you have to give up what you love. And dude, that's not fun. But I'll tell you, the only way for me to get her to become powerful is by going through life, feeling pain, feeling discomfort, and I'll stand with you.
Oh.
I will stand right there with you.
Just like our Father in heaven.
But I will not umbrella you from the consequences.
No, but
because
neither
the
does God.
consequences will teach you what you must learn and you will be better for it. I promise you will. And it's hard. But then again, it goes back to that saying, you must love them enough to allow them to go through pain and suffering. And now here's where this goes even farther. Everyone that I love, my wife, my children, my parents, my siblings, my friends, I also need to love them enough. And dude, it's really hard in a marriage.
Yeah, very.
Like, hey, these are our boundaries. These are the things that we set out. This is what we're doing, and there will be consequences. And if you do something, then this is the consequence. And I love you enough to have to go through this. I'm not going to shield you from this. I'm not going to do it. And the more I love you, the more I should allow you the process, the due process of I made a decision, I failed, I made a mistake, and the consequence must follow. And when it follows, it will teach. That's the most beautiful thing about life, is that God set this life up perfectly for us. He's like, oh, life's going to be a bitch. If you're stupid, it's going to be really hard until you stop being stupid. And that's how you're going to learn.
Yeah.
So if no one steps in, you'll learn really quickly. If people step in, you're going to have to keep learning this lesson over and over and over again.
You got it.
Which I love.
That safety net. And it applies through all the waves that we've talked about.
Yeah.
The safety net of not making the financial choice to live better. The safety net of having a parent so you never have to really be accountable. It follows your entire life.
Yeah.
It's magic, man.
100%.
It's magic. What's next for you? You want to burn the world down?
You know, I was actually speaking at a prison a few weeks ago, and I don't ever prepare, right? I really like to speak as best I can in an expression rather than trying to impress. So I don't prepare. I'm like, hey God, what do these people need to hear?
Yep.
And at the end of speaking to these guys, one of them said to me, he said, what are your goals? What's your goals, right? He says, what's next for you? What's your goals? And not thinking at all, I just blurt, I said, to continue to live the life that I have right now. I have nothing left that I aspire or I want. Yeah, dude, I don't.
Yeah.
Do I want a bigger house? Man, yeah, but that's not really a goal. Do I want to make more money? Yes, but man, I step back, and I do this a lot when I step on stages, because I always I always see those badass speakers get on stage and they're like, listen, I'm a multi-millionaire and I've made all this money and I've done all these things. That's why you should listen to me. Mine is different. I say, why should you listen to me? Because I'll be one of the only people you ever see stand in front of you tell you I am living to a T.
To a T.
The life that I want. My marriage is what I want. My body is the way I want. My parenting is what I want. The money is what I want. My relationships, everything that I desire, I get. Man, if you ask me what my goals are, it's to keep here.
Yeah.
It's to continue to live in a place that every aspect of my life is exactly the way that I want it. Now, will I accomplish more? Absolutely.
Right.
Because just in that mindset, it's a mindset of gratitude rather than a want. Am I grateful for where I'm at? Absolutely, dude. Like, I love it. I pray that in 5 years, I'm doing the same shit that I'm doing right now. Maybe on a bigger scale, but I'm doing the same shit.
Yeah.
So, dude, for me, when people ask what's next, man, I don't know. I don't know what's next.
Yeah.
I just know where I'm at is so wonderful and beautiful that I want to continue here.
Where does someone start to get there? How do you start?
I think that there's only one move.
Okay.
I think if we truly understand as human beings that our most powerful tool will always be our mind. It will always be our mind.
Okay.
If I understand that that is the most powerful tool, then I truly understand, and this is my own personal belief, so some people may not believe this, but if I truly understand, which I do, God is my Father and I am His Son, That means I'm heir to him. That means God's a creator. He gets to create anything he wants.
Got it.
And that means I'm heir to be a creator. And I can create whatever I want. Well, how are things created? They first start here in our mind. So if my mind is not able to create, that's the first place that I should go. So when I look at somebody and they say, how do I get to where you are? Well, you just have to create it. Well, how do I create it? Well, this is where we start. So when I go all the way back to the platform, I go back to two trains of thought. There's only two mindsets.
Okay.
One is abundant and one is scarce. That's it.
Yeah.
Every single thing can be whittled down that way. Well, I'm always depressed. Well, that's a scarcity mindset. Well, I'm always anxious. That's a scarcity mindset. I'm always grateful. That's an abundant mindset. Everything starts from the platform on which we begin to bring our thoughts together, right? So our mind. So when someone asks me like, well, where do I start? You start here in your mind. And then the question should be asked, how? How do I do it?
Correct.
Because I could just say, well, you gotta get your mind better. Well, how do I get it better? Well, here's how you do it. You take inventory right now in the place you are. Where am I scarce and where am I abundant? And how do I take my scarcity and move it to abundancy? That's it. If I take inventory, and dude, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Like my marriage, am I scarce or am I abundant? My money, am I scarce or am I abundant? My leadership, am I scarce or am I abundant? In the time I have left on this earth, am I scarce or am I abundant? All of those things go back to those two sub-thoughts, scarcity or abundancy. If I took any human being and said, you need to get better, here's where you start. I need you to get into an abundant mindset. And everything you do from here on out, all it is taking inventory on where you're scarce and beginning to work on it to become abundant. I go all the way back. If you work on yourself more than you work on anything else, you will have what you want. Well, what does self-work mean? It's here. It's always here. We talk about limiting beliefs. We talk about limiting thoughts. We talk about limiting actions. It all still starts here. So if I wish to change the sum total of who I am, and the sum total is my thoughts, then I would go like a savage after my mind, which is the most powerful thing that I have. And if I go at it, I identify where I need to fix it, and then I go to work to fix it, there's literally no stopping. There's no stopping you. Because you are a son or daughter of God that is an heir to creation, which then means everything you think you can create. Well, how can I create it? It starts here, so let us start here, and then let's go create it. That's as simple as it is.
It's beautiful, bro. Who's Limitless Society for?
Any human being that is chasing like I am chasing the greatest version of themselves.
Anybody.
Any human being that wants to chase the greatest version of themselves. That's it.
That's it.
And truthfully, I wish I could say that that's for everybody. Not everybody wants to become the greatest version of themselves.
Oh, bro, you don't have to tell me twice.
And that's a sad truth.
They say that they do.
Yeah.
Come on.
That's a sad truth to say, because if I stood in front of a group of 1,000 people, I said, do you want to become the greatest version? Every one of those hands would come up.
Yes.
But just like Alan Watts at the Methodist Church, when he stood up in front of them and said, do you believe in Jesus Christ? Stand up. Everybody stood up. He said, sit down. No, you don't. You know why I know you don't? Because your actions would tell me something different. So then when I stand in front of people and I say, do you want to become the greatest version? If you do stand up, they all stand up, and I say, sit your ass back down, because your actions tell me something different. Are you chasing that motherfucker?
Yeah.
Every single day, what are you doing to go after that person? And then when I find those people, it's a really simple illustration. Like, what is my goal? Dude, I only have one. I want to become that greatest version.
Yeah.
Because when I die, there's not heaven and hell, dude. When I die, I'm going to stand in front of God, and I'm going to stand in front of the greatest version of me.
Yeah.
That motherfucker is ripped. He is unbelievably successful. He's an unbelievable parent. He's an unbelievable husband. He's an unbelievable leader. And I'm going to look him in his eyes, and I'm going to say, that's who I could have become on the time that I had?
That's hell.
And I either look him directly in his eyes and I say, I became that, or I look at the ground in hell and I go, shit, I'm not even a pale comparison to that human being.
Missed opportunity.
Yeah. So, dude, that's who Limitless Society is for. And by the way, dude, it is the hardest thing in the world to market. How do you market to people? There's no hard deliverable, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I think if I was, so this will go to like almost 1 million inmates weekly, 1,300 prisons at the moment, nationwide. And so I think if I was marketing for you, I think the 2025 version of success is being able to put your head on your pillow every night and know that when you wake up in the morning, that's the life that you want to see.
100%. I label out now a really good metric. I always believe in metrics.
Okay. What gets measured gets...
Yeah, without a metric, there is no progression.
Agreed.
And one of the metrics that I have, and it's almost an intangible metric, but at the same time, it's not. Do you go to bed exhausted and do you wake up hungry? And when you go to bed exhausted, it means you exhausted every ounce of your energy to go after what you wanted. And when you wake up, you are so filled with inspiration to go after that again that you literally somersault out of your bed hungry as shit. And again, and I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's people in prison. I don't care if it's the greatest CEO. I don't care if it's the richest dude in the world. If you are chasing that greatest version, you will always understand that race never ends, that progression never ends until the day that you die.
Yeah.
And then again, you stand in front of God and you stand in front of that greatest version and you go, I'm either eye to eye with that guy or, man, I really, really missed the mark here.
I had this thought just pop in my head about your marriage conversation, about standing in front of God. I had this conversation with a pretty interested, very spiritual / religious individual. And he said, when we get up there, you still have agency. And so as much as you are focused on you and you're grinding for you, he said, when you see your wife up there, would she choose to still be with you at that point?
100%.
Bro.
And dude, what's even cool about that is because again, when I have my marriage mastermind, I always ask the question, if you weren't married today and she woke up next to you and she got out of bed and you both got out of bed and you didn't have that, we're legally bound.
Yeah, your thing.
Would she choose that day to be with you? The person that she sees roll out of the bed with her, would she choose to be with you? One of the most beautiful things about my marriage. Every morning I wake up, I'm like, oh my gosh, you could put 100 of the best women in front of me and I would still pick this human being.
Same.
And that's how I know my marriage is what I want it to be, right? But dude, you're right. when we get up there, I think everybody gets that choice. Will my children look at me and go, I don't know if I want to be his child anymore. I don't know if I want to be married to that human being.
Correct.
Because we will still have those choices.
You still have that choice.
And the reason we fail is because we neglect the perspective that nobody is forced to you.
No.
And it's also why so many parents lose touch with their children. Because they go, well, they're my children, they have to listen to me. Yeah, but what if it's more powerful than that? What if they want to be led by you?
They want to be around you.
What if they want to be your children?
I know.
Same thing in your marriage. And dude, when you look at it that way, man, then you're back on that grind. It's the same thing in your marriage. You want to have a beautiful marriage, continue to date her.
Yes.
Continue to impress her.
Yes.
Same thing with your children, man. Every moment I get with my children, I sit there often and I'm like, are they proud? Are they proud of me as their father?
And I go even deeper than that. Are they proud when I drop him off at school?
Yeah.
I have this weird little thing in my head. So when the door swings open, he goes to this little preppy, goofy school. And when the door swings open and they hear modern wisdom, part of me is so happy.
Yeah.
Right? Because I know he's about to go in there and get 7 hours of bullshit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then he swings the door open and it's there for a good 30 seconds. And then, so I'm like, and I can now, you get that what is it?
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Preparing them for the future.
Yeah.
Or that conversation hey, Brock, when you jump out, what do you guys listen to every day?
Yeah.
Because it's not rap lyrics.
Yeah.
No, my dad actually pours into me. It's kind of crazy. He has this rule, we don't listen to songs in his truck.
Yeah.
We have conversations or we listen to stuff that pours into us.
Yeah.
But I love that conversation about marriage. That's why I want to end with you because it's so important to both of us. And I think we complicate marriage right now. You mentioned dating your wife. I love that. We're at a point now, our oldest is 13 and he's a boy, and we live like you live, so nobody really comes up here unless you invite him for 900 people mastermind.
Yeah.
But we get to go out often, is what I'm saying, right? So maybe it's Tuesday to get, foot massage at the Asian place. It's Saturday for sushi. It's all over the board and we love it.
Yeah.
That to me is simple. And I've boiled it down to love notes.
Yeah.
Love notes.
Yeah.
And I think whether you put it in your phone and you remind yourself, whether you write it down, I write it down, I'm a visual guy. My wife has them all over the house, and it brings me so much joy to tell her, to build her, to say, hey, I just want to let you know, the other day, 10 o'clock, you left for the gym, I wasn't able to go. Good gracious, you were hot.
Yeah.
Bro, that constant seedling.
Yeah.
I wish I could explain.
As if you were still dating.
Yes.
Yeah.
That constant ass grab, but it's the little things of like, hey, I just want to let you know, like, you were crushing this MILF thing.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they're like, what?
Yeah.
It's that moment where you're just like, I just love to be in love with you. Like I want to be intoxicated by you.
One of the things that I love to, because I like to simplify things, is when I break down how do you get better in your marriage, I always say, and it goes back to what I've said this whole time, is I will work on me for you if you will work on you for me. And what I love the very most is that every day is a new day for me to become better, to become more attractive to her, and she becomes better to become more attractive to me. And every day it's like, it's a new version of me to be attracted to you. Like she just recently said, hey, I want to get my heli license. And I was like, I love it. I love it. That's so dope. And she's been doing it and she's been learning, and she actually just put up a video. She's been taking her little cam and doing, and she posted this video of her like going through everything. And I was like, God, that's hot as shit.
Right?
It's so hot to see you accomplish things. It's so hot to see you working on your own shit. Like I am so attracted to you, and I continue to be attracted to you because you continue to chase what you want. You continue to build you. I continue to build me, and we come together in this attraction that continues to grow. And dude, that's the kind of stuff that allows you to build this dope ass marriage to be what you want it to be.
Yeah. I love it.
And dude, that's why I'm like, again, like that's my, if I had a platform on what I build everything off of, it's your marriage.
I love that, brother. We'll post everything with Limitless so that they can find you.
Absolutely.
They'll reach out. You'll text me like, turn it off.
I love it. I love it.
It's
dude.
crazy. You'll get it all. It's fun, man. It's fun, and it's fun when you get to taste it and change the life.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. We're sitting with a guy tomorrow. We've done a one-on-one with him once or twice. 12 years old, his life falls apart. Mom becomes a drug addict. Parents divorce. Mom chooses the drug dealer. He comes home. Drug dealer's doing terrible things to his mom. So he takes and does terrible things to the drug dealer. Mom chooses the drug dealer. He walks out of the house and says, whoever that guy is, I want to be the opposite.
Yeah.
Because I want to kill all of him. I want to kill everybody who ruined my family. And Keaton, it's on his forehead, it's on his earlobes, on his throat, because he was so passionate about doing it.
Yeah.
It ruined his whole life.
Yeah.
And we sit across from him, and he tells this story. I'm in Gunnison, and I'm seeing four-wheelers, and I'm seeing RVs. And I start writing down what I want. He starts manifesting his koi pond in the backyard.
Yeah.
He starts manifesting it. For the last 18 years, he's been out 10 months. He had a child during that time. She's now 10, 11, 12 years old. So I spent a couple hours with him, and we manifested Life 2.0 because he's going to get out shortly. And I sent it to his daughter.
That's dope.
Bro. Like the explosion of like her texting me. Like I get to watch my dad every night. I get to go to sleep to his voice. I'm just like, oh, who's cutting onions?
Yeah.
Right? And so I just I tell you that story because I appreciate what you do. And I don't think guys like us tell each other that enough.
I appreciate that.
I think we hear a lot of negativity around social media.
Yeah.
I think we hear a lot of negativity in the religious culture that we're both a part of. I think it's very difficult to continue to be a black sheep in a whitewashed world.
100%.
And so I appreciate what you do. I'm grateful for your time. I love you.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah.